Good morning, folks, and welcome to the Dan Beasley Show. It's 12 o'clock p.m. and it's on Saturday, 4/20/2013. This is Danny Beasley coming to you live from Hartsville, South Carolina. Today, I'm going to make a lot of people angry, and a lot of people will ask a lot of questions, and it's not my intent to make you angry. You're going to make your own self angry. As the psychologist put it, no one can make you angry. By what you hear and by what you see and by what images may be invoked in your mind by what's going on. I got to remind you that this country has been under terrorism for a long, long time, and that school shootings have happened for a long, long time. I did research on the subject, and I found some way back in the 1700s. I found incidents where principals were shot through the windows of the school, while he sat at his desk. However, 23 children is bad, and it's a terrible thing, and it's a very, very horrible thing as a parent to face. And my heart grieves for those people because I have two kids of my own and 4 grandkids, and it would bother me terribly if someone was to harm them in the same manner. However, you can't trust every story the government publishes. And I've got 3 issues I'd like to bring up. Number 1, there was a false flag attack. And for those of you who do not know what a false flag is in the colonial days when a ship wanted to disguise itself as the real McCoy, it would change its flag to the enemy's flag, and it would sail on into the harbor, and then it would inflict its damage on the enemy's grounds. This false flag attack thing has grown in nature over the years. I don't know if many of you remember the French airliner that got shot out of the sky when the Navy was conducting exercises off the coast of New England back some years ago. And a lot of high school students lost their lives, and a lot of innocent victims lost their lives because of something caused the aircraft to explode, thousands of feet in the air. And they laid the blame on a faulty fuel pump or a fuel fuse or whatever, a faulty wiring in the fuel pump, fuel compartment. That hasn't happened since, and it hasn't happened before that I'm aware of to any commercial airliner. So I'd have to say, since the Navy was conducting missile exercises down below in that same area, that it would almost be certain that it would have to be a missile attack, and there's photographs to attest to the fact. However, the government was conducting a false flag attack against terrorists and aircrafts, and all of a sudden one of our aircrafts is hit. You put it together. I'm not going to put it together. Connect the dots. The second false flag attack that I'm aware of is the one in which Sandy Hook, for instance. I mean, we had Sandy Hook. We had people that were in camo. Not really camo, but military outfits, going up and down the street before the attack actually occurred. And there was also an incident out in Aurora, Colorado, where this guy enters into this theater and opens fire on all of these innocent victims, and about 20 people are killed or maimed or whatever. And turns out the FBI was conducting a false flag attack on the very same thing in the same area. And now here we come with the Boston Marathon. We got the same situation, a false flag attack. They were conducting a false. Well, I'm skipping ahead of myself. Let's go back to 9/11. The United States was conducting an exercise on what would happen if an aircraft was to hit a high-rise building, somewhere some blocks down from where the Twin Towers were. And strangely enough, here we go. The towers come down from the same very thing that they were testing for. It's getting even stranger, people. Even with these homemade bombs that were based on the same design that the weathermen used. It's a terrorist group that Obama's buddy and mentor used back in the 60s with the weathermen. They were called the weathermen. No one could figure out why they called themselves that, but anyway, um, uh, they based their design on that. But these guys were from what was it? Anyway, they were from the former Soviet Union. Let me put it that way. Czechia. That was it. And they're Muslim, but they did not dress Muslim. They did not look like they were dressed in traditional garb. And these guys had grown up as Americans because they were naturalized about a year or so ago. You got to realize that again, the United States was conducting a false flag attack somewhere down there close to Boston, where they were having a marathon, and they told the people that there were going to be some explosions, but not to be afraid, not to be alarmed. They were just testing. And as it turns out, they were real tests. So you gotta wonder if there's a mole in the CIA that's following them around and is trying to make the CIA look bad, or if it's actually the CIA itself conducting the actual exercise on the actual people instead of the other way around of being a test. Anyway, the Bible says at the end of time there would be terrorism, there would be liars, there would be deceivers and people being deceived, and that there would be abuse of power. There'd be earthquakes everywhere. Today, China had an earthquake. It was like a 6.5. Of course, 6.5 seems to be stuck on the scale or something. And about I think something like 1,500 people were injured or something like that. Every other day, there's an earthquake in that area. I mean, several hit Japan last week. A couple hit Indonesia, and the week before, and then it was Australia, New Zealand, Papua actually was hit, and you've got a whole chain of islands that are being hit, and it's just like a ring of fire that's come alive, and it's like the earth is going through a lot of underground changes. You got to think about, all these bombs that were dropped in World War II. How many faults did they cause? How many did they weaken? I mean, you got to think about the current war. I mean, how many fault zones have been weakened because of bombings? I guarantee you no one has probably given any thought to this whatsoever. However, we move on to other things. We move on to the fact that the media has caught the second suspect in the Boston marathon bombing, and he's in the hospital in serious condition. I guess they want to keep this guy alive so that they can find out exactly what is going on inside of his mind and what connections he has with whomever supplied him with the technology and with the materials to make the bomb. So I guess they're looking to extract information from him, and then they'll probably prosecute him and then put him to death by lethal injection if they do the same thing as they did to Timothy McVeigh out at the Oklahoma bombing. In the meantime, out at West Texas, there were 14 people killed out there. A massive destruction to a small town of about 1,500 people. Ammonium nitrate is a very, very highly explosive material, especially whenever it's molecularized or dust, it has a greater surface area for destruction because it has the capability of incineration, very, very quick incineration. Now we've got other problems on our hands. We've got a situation where Obama is threatening to use all kinds of little tricks that he's got up his sleeve to override what the Congress said about the gun control regulations. Keep your eyes on that because I mean he is adamant about getting some sort of legislation through, and he is headstrong about not letting it go by, and he's going to try to do it either by presidential edict or something to get it done. And if he's not challenged, which I think he should be, because he's had unchecked power since he's been in office, everything that he's passed without congressional approval, just about. He'll be showing that his constitutional lawyer bit that he was before he became president. He was a constitutional lawyer for the NAACP. You'll know exactly that he knows what holes are in the Constitution and what can be plugged and what can't, and what he can get away with and what he can't. So he just sat back, his first and second year in the Illinois Senate, and just voted president. He never did anything. He never did anything before he became president, except be Barack Obama. And I wonder if he's actually Barack Obama. He's probably someone else. He's a false flag himself. I mean, he's from Kenya. Honolulu's already said that there was no birth certificate on file for him. Period. Nothing to be looked at, period. They can't produce something because it doesn't exist. So therefore, you've got you got a situation here where we've got a youth leader carrying this country down to the bottom of the abyss, commanding our armed forces to be spread out across the entire world, doing everything known to history to destroy countries and empires that were set up long ago, making it too expensive to maintain, and is going to finally break it by giving so much emphasis to the military that they can't supply them anymore. So the only thing that would be left to do would just either leave them or bring them home, one or the other. God forbid we should leave them in a foreign country where they have to fight their way out, because there would be a slaughter on their hands. And I don't think that would be anything that our enemies would be sad to hear about, because they would be very, very happy to do the job. We've got weather situations going on where there was severe weather in the south yesterday. It was tornado warnings out all day yesterday and part of the night. There was a lot of severe weather that dumped a lot of rain in certain places, but South Carolina, as far as I know, did not receive any damage, especially this area. Didn't receive any significant damage. Folks, we've got people that are just sick and tired of being sick and tired. Those are the words that Martin Luther King used whenever he started his march of freedom. He says we just got sick and tired of being sick and tired. And what are we today? We're working harder. More of our money is going to taxes. We're being asked to give more. We're being asked to receive less. And we are putting the burden on our children. What we spend today, they will have to spend tomorrow. They'll have to pay for tomorrow. And there's just no rhyme or reason